Good morning. My name is Kristen Rogers, and I'm here to propose a solution to a quickly growing problem due to the COVID-19 pandemic that the world is experiencing today. I believe that the solution that I have come up with could be rolled out very quickly, possibly within 1 week's time, locally and nationally, hopefully saving, many lives. Experts are currently advising seniors to socially isolate, as we all know and have heard on the news, to socially isolate themselves. However, loneliness on its own can kill the elderly, aside from the fact and the lack of food, medications, and supply resources available to them. The CDC specifically suggests that older Americans stay at home and stock up on foods and medications, limiting contact with others whenever possible, which could be easy for us younger generations to do, but the older generations, it may not be so easy and straightforward. The evidence, of this is piling up on social media, and the evidence is disturbing. Just 2 days ago, I read a post on social media. I can't confirm that it is factual. However, this story goes like this. A woman is walking to the grocery store from her vehicle, and she's walking through the grocery store parking lot. And she notices a parked car with an elderly couple sitting inside. She can see that they're visibly upset and, crying. And when she approaches them to check if they're okay, uh, that they explain that they came to the grocery store to stock up on food and supplies, but are essentially, paralyzed with fear that if they are to leave their vehicle to purchase what they need, that they'll be infected with the virus, which has the potential to kill them. Additionally, I've seen photos of the elderly, staring at empty shelves in grocery stores. And the thought of that, the fear that must be going through their minds at that moment, there's just so many aspects to that picture in my head that, is just so wrong and unnecessary. I've spoken with neighbors myself in my own neighborhood who are seniors who've gone to the grocery store only to find just that, empty shelves. And then they have more elderly seniors standing next to them there in disbelief, stating, well, I guess I missed the boat, in so many words. That's just not okay. And the level of fear, anxiety, and truly anger that goes through their minds because of the fear, it's it's not necessary. And I believe that, we have a solution and the means to make this better, to remember the elderly and to honor them and to take care of them. In my opinion, if we don't come up with immediate solutions, I believe this borders on the edge of age discrimination. So what I'm proposing is that, yes, during this pandemic, survival is the number one priority, right? However, let's not merely just survive this. Let's raise the bar and set our sights higher on thriving through this and assisting others, assisting the elderly to thrive through this as well. The mission of what I'm calling, for lack of a better name, is the Thrive Project. The mission of this project is to safely and as hygienically as possible identify, educate, assist, and provide food, supplies, education materials, prescriptions, and words of encouragement for the elderly currently living in their own homes nationwide. This will reduce the need for them to leave their homes in order to obtain these items that are necessary to survive, which could then potentially expose them to the COVID-19 virus. So the purpose is to slow and or stop the spread of COVID-19 amongst the most vulnerable and or susceptible, which is demonstrated to be those individuals 60 years and older, while at the same time creating a win-win scenario for all involved. So the benefits I would describe as the reduced risk to the most susceptible getting infected with the COVID-19 virus, the reduced risk for overwhelming our national medical care system, reduced risk for this age group, the elderly, to be taken advantage of by bad people with bad negative intentions, hence scammers trying to take advantage of the situation, which sadly we always have pop up in scenarios that are similar to this, emergency scenarios. Reduce the risk for the elderly not having fair access to food and supplies, their medications that they need to survive. Reduce risk for the age group, the elderly, experiencing depression, fear, and anxiety. Properly educating the elderly so that they understand what's going on in the outside world, and versus fearing this new strain of the coronavirus due to the unknowns. And then lastly, to lift their spirits so that they don't feel so alone. And as I pointed out in the very beginning, loneliness is deadly, and we can avoid it. We can do that. So how do we do this? So to start out, first and foremost, we would have to identify the elderly living in their own home, local and nationally. And in order to do this, I had a couple of ideas. One is reaching out to the fire departments locally and nationally and having them identify elderly that may need assistance in their general areas. Elderly where they've received phone calls, which I know that for a fact that the fire departments do go out on calls daily to assist the elderly if they have fallen, if they need help getting up, if they're having medical issues and that sort of thing. So that would be one way to identify the elderly and quickly to get us started. And then additionally, reach out to local churches and create a website that is easily accessible and or a phone app that is easily loadable to any phone, Android or iPhone, where people could register in a confidential fashion the locations of their loved ones, their family members, their church members, their neighbors, onto this website, onto this app, so that we may identify and assist these residents with their needs. So that could be, quickly put together by somebody who, develops apps and websites and getting that information to the right people in the right locations. It would require, putting a task force together. I am here in Boise and actually Meridian, Idaho. So I've already reached out to the governor of Idaho, and then, involving the media as necessary. And then also the Rawl Academy. I'm hoping that maybe we can work together to get this project moving and quickly. In addition to that, uh, well, let me explain the actual, idea here is I propose that we utilize businesses already in place. So we wouldn't have to create anything new necessarily to get this accomplished. So I am a pharmaceutical rep. I've been in medical sales my entire sales career. And currently, the company that I work for, as I know many pharmaceutical companies are doing this, if not all of them, but I can't speak for all of them. Our company is paying all of their reps, yet asking them to stay home. So we are sitting at home getting paid, and I believe this would be a great opportunity for the pharmaceutical companies to ask their employees, their representatives, to volunteer 1 or 2 days a week to deliver these packages to the identified elderly. Now, these pharmaceutical reps, remember, are already background checked uh, and DMV checked, and so that would lower the risk for any sort of, situation where uh, delivery drivers would be attempt to take advantage of the elderly in this situation. Additionally, we are also trained on HIPAA rules, and we understand the importance of keeping people's information private. So, uh, so what I am suggesting is that these reps who already drive for a living around the areas where they make their calls, um, you know, deliver to the local to them uh, elderly individuals that have been identified, delivering food, um, education materials, as I said, supplies, and also just doing welfare checks on them, leaving the package on the front porch, but stepping away to keep a distance and just waiting to be sure that the package was safely brought inside for that resident. Um, to avoid anyone stealing packages off the doorsteps and that sort of thing. But once we see that brought inside, it also gives us an idea of how that person's doing. We can, kind of be in contact and message with them and that sort of thing. Um, Additionally, we would utilize already existing food delivery companies. There are a lot of companies out there right now, and I mean small businesses that deliver foods that are prepared foods that you can throw together and heat in the microwave or heat on the stove or in the oven quickly and simply. There are many businesses that do this, and every business is a little bit different, but those kind of package meals that come to people to assist them getting through the week with everybody's busy schedules. What a great way to provide for this, these elderly residents, to provide food for them, to have these small businesses step up and prepare these meals and or packages to deliver to these identified elderly. And so, additionally, the packages would have maybe a message of encouragement that is written by students that are currently sitting at home because their schools are closed, saying, "Mom, Dad, I'm bored. What can I do? I want to go to a friend's house," but they can't because they got to socially distance. So let's have them do something, productive, something that um, maybe some kids need a lesson in caring for others. Let's teach them a little differently at home. So maybe they're not getting the education they would in school, but let's teach them about caring for others and not only focusing on ourselves. So these letters of encouragement they could take a picture of and email to the website or a specific email address, and then we could print them out and laminate them and attach them to the package so that the elderly can get a letter of encouragement. Maybe it's a photo of who the author of the letter was, something to connect them to the outside world. Additionally, another idea was reaching out to Facebook and asking them to reduce the price temporarily of their Facebook portals, and having an option when people register their friends, their loved ones, their church members, etc., or their neighbors, and giving them the option to purchase at a very discounted rate one of those Facebook portals to be delivered to the individual, to the the identified elderly individual, so that they have a way to communicate to the outside world on a face-to-face basis. Therefore, making them feel less lonely and feeling like they can just reach out if they need anything. So, these are just a few ideas, but there are a lot of, food delivery companies out there that, like I said, are small businesses, and this COVID-19 pandemic is dropping their business, their income, and let's help them. And like I said, make it a win-win for everyone. Let's help them to continue their business to be able to pay their rent and mortgage and put food on the table for their families during this crisis. So, this would be subsidized by the current national emergency fund that was had begun, I believe, last Friday, and we would have to figure all that out if it would be something that would be, at a discounted rate or just covered altogether initially, which I believe if we can, we should just cover it altogether initially. And then, see how this temporary, solution, how it evolves. So that is, the essential idea. I have a lot of additional information to add to this proposal, but that gives you an idea for what I'm alluding to. And I do need resources, and I believe that we should be able to get those resources without a problem. So if you have time to reach out to me and talk face to face in a Zoom meeting or something, I would love that, because I really would like to get something going as quickly as possible. I hope you agree that this would be a good solution to our current, crisis right now. We need to take care of our elderly and show them that they're not alone. And I know that the buzz right now on social media is people talking about, let's care for the elderly, let's help each other, and this really sends that message. The thrive versus merely surviving, and so doesn't have to be called the Thrive Project, but I think it's an appropriate name. So that's what I titled it for now, and I just would love to talk further with you. I really do appreciate your time. I know this is lengthy and probably not super well organized, because I just, woke up yesterday morning and it occurred to me to get this started because on Saturday, I realized my mom, who lives in a different state from me, is unable to go out grocery shopping on her own. So I spent time getting her set up with grocery delivery, and I ordered, everything for her and it was delivered by, the end of the day Saturday. So she was so happy to hear that. And um, I just realized that my mom's one of many people out there, so many that need assistance, that don't necessarily know what's out there to assist them. They don't know what their options are. They don't know how to get online. There's just so many aspects to it. So I believe there's a way to do this and to do it quickly. And even if we started small in a couple of different communities and then grew it as quickly as possible, I feel like even in the first several days, we could literally save lives. So I hope you agree, and I hope that we can get a chance to discuss this further. All right, thanks for your time. Take care.